Mithridates raised his sword against the king, but Black Clitus, son of Dropidas, anticipated his blow, struck his arm, and cut it off, sword and all.
Oh my god, that's crazy and gory. Oh my gosh, I love this. Oh, hello there, John here. Welcome to my reaction of the greatest general in history. Alexander invades the Persian Empire by Epic History TV, or Epic History in general. 8 years ago, so I'm a bit late, as you guys can see. But it's fine, it's fine, it's fine. Okay, so Alexander, I have been exposed to him when I was a little kid, basically, from my encyclopedias, basically, and I always loved him. He's definitely not my favorite character, but he's one of my favorites. So I'm excited to see and learn more about him. So yeah, let's do this, guys. Let us do this, and hopefully, let's see him win. But hopefully, you guys subscribe and like the video. That will help me a ton. The original video, is in the description box and the pinned comment. So go check it out for yourselves. And
In
let's begin.
334 BC, Alexander, king of Macedonia, began one of the greatest military campaigns in history against the superpower of the age,
Yep.
the Persian Empire.
Actually, yeah, the Persian Empire, you could say it was the first empire, like the empire of the world at the time, excluding China, of course. Because no other nation could match up with them, So they also expanded very rapidly, too.
Just 20 years old, his brilliant and fearless leader.
Bro, I'm 20 years old and I'm making YouTube videos that no one watches. Like, at 20 years old, he was already leading a campaign against against the biggest empire ever known up until the point. And now I'm just like a random noob here, watching about him. So
won
yeah.
him battle after battle. And in an astonishing 10-year campaign that took him to the edge of the known world, he carved out one of the largest empires ever known.
Yep.
Few men have had such a massive impact on the course of history.
Yeah, Alexander is like one of the biggest and most influential people in history, alongside Caesar, obviously, alongside Napoleon, alongside Genghis Khan, alongside alongside everyone, literally. Okay, my dog is being weird. Okay, doggy, please come here. Come here, doggy. Okay, I'm going. Oh, sorry. Accidentally hit her. Okay, so I'm going to show you to the audience to see how naughty you are. So please stop being naughty. Okay, can you please stop being naughty? Please stop being naughty. Okay, don't you dare lick me. Okay, I'm gonna put you here. Can you please go away? Okay, let's go. Let's do this. Okay.
To the Persians, he was Alexander the Accursed. But to the West, he was immortalized
As a god,
as Alexander the Great.
or as Alexander the Great. Yep. You could say he was the first great of the greats. So yeah, okay. This is the first part. So yeah, please show your support for the next part. Okay.
Ancient Greece.
Elas or Elada.
From
Okay.
around 500 BC, this rugged land was the scene of remarkable developments
Yep.
in art, philosophy, and warfare.
Before the Romans, there were the Greeks. I mean, in terms of sophistication,
Its two greatest city-states were Athens, a naval power where democracy, art, drama, and philosophy flourished, and Sparta, an austere, militaristic society famed for its formidable army.
So basically two sides of
In
the coin.
480 BC, these two city-states had joined forces to fight an invasion by the mighty Persian Empire.
Battle of Thermopylae. Yep.
At the narrow pass of Thermopylae, a small Greek force led by 300 Spartans
And a few more thousand.
held up the enormous Persian.
No, not a few more thousand soldiers, not Spartans. The Spartans, yes, there were only 300 Spartans. But we always forget that there was like another few thousand men over there also fighting on the side of the Spartans.
Army for 3 days. before they were finally encircled and killed.
Yep.
Then, in the Straits of Salamis,
Battle of Salamis.
the
Oh
Greek
man.
fleet defeated the Persian navy.
Yep. Truly wonderful.
But they
I hope technology advances so much that we could like replicate, history itself. Like we could like use holograms in a way to literally and AI in a way to literally use satellites to literally look back in time and show realistically what happened and literally have movies in real time like with holograms and such. But that's too sci-fi-ish, so
couldn't
yeah.
prevent the Persians burning the sacred temples of the Athenian Acropolis.
Yep, the first one, yeah.
The next year at Plataea, the Greeks won a decisive
Yep,
land
Battle
battle
of
against
Plataea.
the Persians and forced them to abandon their invasion.
Yep.
The next 50 years were the golden age of classical Greece.
Yep. Yeah,
But rising
remember.
tension between Athens and Sparta and their allies eventually led to war, dragging the Greek world into decades of destructive fighting.
Yep.
Wars between the Greek city-states continued for almost a century, leaving them exhausted and vulnerable to a new rising power to the north.
The Macedonians.
For centuries, sophisticated Greeks had viewed the mountainous kingdom of Macedonia as a backwater, Hicksville, barely Greek at all.
Yeah, and the same could be said about the Epirotes as well and Thessalians. Like the OG and the most like true Greeks were in Attica region and Peloponnese region, basically. They even saw like the Thessalians were seen as more Greek than the Macedonians, yes, but they were seen as not fully Greek either. So that's how the societal divide was.
But under King Philip II,
Yep.
Macedonia emerged as a formidable military force.
Yep.
His most famous reform? The introduction of the sarissa, an 18-foot pike, twice the length of a normal Greek spear, and
Yep.
wielded by trained infantry, fighting in close formation, known as a phalanx.
Yep. Phalanx. Or phalanx.
338 BC,
Yeah.
at the Battle of Chaeronea, Philip's army crushed the joint forces of Thebes and Athens.
I'm pretty sure Alexander himself was in that battle as well. I actually read about it, yeah.
Through alliance and conquest, Philip had already gained control over most of his neighbours. Now, following this victory, he united all Greece in an alliance known as the Hellenic League,
Yep.
or League of Corinth, with Philip as hegemon, or supreme commander.
Think of it like Agamemnon during this Trojan War. Think of it like that figure.
Only Sparta stood aside.
And the
Philip
purpose
began
of this league was to basically counter the Persians.
to
Like what Alexander did was basically what Philip wanted to do, but he died before that.
plan a great campaign, a pan-Hellenic or all-Greek war against the Persian Empire.
Yeah.
Their old foe was now an ailing superpower, its great riches ripe for the taking.
And you know why? It is basically because of Darius III. Because each empire, guys, it's weakened or strengthened based on the leadership. Yeah, based on the leadership and the resources they have. But mostly based on the leadership, mostly actually. So it depends on who's the emperor and who leads that empire.
But on the eve of launching his war, Philip was assassinated by his own bodyguard.
Imagine if Philip did lead the campaign himself with Alexander II in command, let's say, right? Maybe when the Persians offered up the peace, splitting the empire in two, basically giving Syria, giving Anatolia, giving Egypt all to the Macedonians, to the Greeks, in exchange for peace, maybe Philip would have accepted that, and maybe Alexander would have gone rogue. Like so much alternative history you can think of it, like at this point.
Victim of Macedonia's brutal court rivalries. He was succeeded by his 20-year-old son, Alexander. Brilliant, restless.
I'm pretty sure, okay, I may be wrong, either 20 or 18 he took the throne. And it took like 2 years for him to like have a war to the Thracians around here and in Illyria, and then deal with the things here that assert his hegemony over Greece, or he was 20 years old, I'm not sure.
Tutored by the great philosopher Aristotle.
Yeah, Aristotle as well,
and already an experienced military commander.
Yep.
Alexander inherited his father's grand plan to invade Persia. But first,
also, fun fact, Alexander also read and idolized the mythical hero Achilles, from the Trojan War, basically.
He had to secure his own position as king.
Yep.
At home, he had potential rivals executed, then crushed rebellions in Illyria, Thessaly, and central Greece. He made a special example of Thebes.
Okay, so I was wrong. So at 22 he began the campaign. Okay.
Completely destroying the ancient city and selling its people into slavery. In the spring of 334 BC, now ready to launch his war against the Persian Empire, Alexander led his army across the Hellespont into Asia Minor.
Yep.
It was the start of one of the greatest military campaigns in history.
And the reason why it's the greatest is because in just one military campaign, he managed to bring down and literally incorporate the Persian Empire into his own kingdom, or as it's later known as the Macedonian Empire or the Greek Empire.
Alexander's army was about 40,000 strong, drawn from all parts of Greece. The infantry were commanded by the veteran Macedonian general Parmenion.
Yep.
In the front rank, 9,000 Macedonian phalangites, armed with the 18-foot sarissa. These were professional soldiers, well-trained and drilled, who formed up for battle in the phalanx, 16 ranks deep. This packed formation presented a solid wall of iron spear tips and was virtually unstoppable.
Pretty good.
But it was also difficult to maneuver and highly vulnerable to attacks on its flanks or rear.
Yeah, as we saw with the Romans, with the King Pyrrhus of Epirus fighting the Roman Republic.
So 3,000
in the Samnite Wars, or was it after the Samnite Wars? Basically when the Romans conquered southern Italy.
Elite infantry, the hypaspists, or shield bearers, armed with shorter spears, guarded its flanks. They were commanded by Parmenion's son, Nicanor. The second line of Alexander's army was made up of 7,000 Greek allies and 5,000 mercenaries, armed as hoplites. They took their name from the hoplon, their large round shield, and carried shorter 8-foot spears.
Yeah, shorter, 8 foot.
A hoplite phalanx was not as effective as the Macedonian phalangites, but still well armed and heavily armored for the time.
Yep.
The Agrianes were the army's elite skirmishers, expert javelin throwers from what's now southern Bulgaria.
Oh, okay.
Other skirmishers from Thrace and Illyria were armed with javelins, slings, and bows.
So basically, the Thracians and Illyrians are like the auxiliary in terms of Roman style, right? Then, basically, over time, the Goths and the Alans replaced the Thracians and the Illyrians in the army of the Romans. Oh, man.
The shock troops of Alexander's army
Oh,
were
yeah.
the companion cavalry.
I forgot about the
1,800 elite horsemen,
Philotas is
armed
pretty
with
underrated.
spear and sword, commanded by Philotas, another son of Parmenion. Alexander led the royal squadron in person. There were also 1,800 cavalry from Thessaly, commanded by Callas, 600 from other parts of
Eregius.
Greece, led by Eregius,
Interesting.
and 900 mounted scouts from
Sander,
Thrace and
okay, I know
Ionia
about him.
under Cassander.
Okay. Okay, the Granicus. Okay, Battle of the Granicus. Okay. So
The
those are
great
the
Persian
so those are the satrapies. I'm pretty sure, right?
empire was divided into provinces.
Obviously, those red lines are the modern borders, but it wasn't the same borders in the antiquity, obviously.
Called satrapies.
Yep.
Each satrapy was ruled by a governor or satrap.
It's crazy that Libya, modern day Libya, is over to the west, and this was considered like the Cyrenaica region was considered part of Libya, you know.
Those in Asia Minor, now threatened by Alexander's invasion, met to discuss strategy.
Okay.
Memnon of Rhodes, a skilled Greek general in Persian service, urged them to avoid battle with Alexander. Instead, he advised them to use a scorched earth strategy, to burn villages and crops and withdraw to the interior.
That's actually a good strategy, honestly.
Army, he promised, would quickly starve.
He should have listened, honestly.
It was good advice,
Yeah.
but the satraps were unwilling to lay waste to their own provinces without a fight.
Of course.
So they decided to face Alexander's army at the river Granicus.
Okay.
The Persian army formed up behind the river.
I just remember something I read about this fight. Okay, this is gonna be juicy if they're gonna include it.
Shallow, but 60 feet wide with steep banks.
Okay. Yep.
Their front line was a wall of cavalry, about 10,000 horsemen from across the empire. Medes and Hyrcanians from modern Iran, Bactrians from Afghanistan, and Paphlagonians from Turkey's Black Sea coast.
Interesting because the Paphlagonians, I'm pretty sure they were also kind of Greek. I'm not sure. You can correct me on that, but I'm pretty sure the Paphlagonians are kind of like from Greek and Anatolian native descent, you know, and that's why there was like a city or like a region named Paphlagonia, you know.
Behind, in reserve, were the infantry, several thousand Greek mercenaries, a common sight in Persian armies at this time.
Yeah.
These men fought for Persian gold and were armed with the round shield and short spear of hoplites. The Persians may have been unsure if they could trust these men in combat against fellow Greeks, and so placed them at the rear.
Bad idea.
Alexander,
Because even if they were to betray them, you have them in front, which means even if they turn around to fight you, at least you can kill them off instantly, instead of like having to be literally on both sides, on behind you and in front of you, basically, to have to fight them. Like that's kind of stupid, don't you think?
determined to attack and destroy this Persian force before it could retreat, raced to the Granicus with his best troops.
Yep.
On his left wing, he posted Thessalian, Greek, and Thracian cavalry under Parmenian's command. In the center were the massed spears of the phalanx.
Like I really
Six
want to know
divisions.
what the frick is this game, dude? This is so
Commanded
nice.
by Perdiccas, Koinos, Amintas, Philip, Meleager, and Crateros. On the right, Alexander himself, with the companion cavalry under Philotas, as well as the elite Hypaspists, the Agrianes javelin throwers, and the archers.
Yep.
Alexander, with 13,000 infantry and 5,000 cavalry in all, was probably slightly outnumbered. But ignoring advice to wait until dawn to cross the river, he ordered an immediate...
You know what's funny? Sorry for pausing so much, by the way. Alexander is the only general, and maybe even Napoleon, where if he ignores the advice, that's a good thing, because every other general, an emperor and king or whatever, after ignoring the advice of someone else, of like a fellow general, then they immediately falter and literally lose the battle. But Alexander is of a different breed, dude. Like, he knew what he was doing.
Assault. He sent a squadron of companion cavalry to ford the river, followed by a regiment of Hypaspists and the Paeonian light cavalry. Alexander, calling on his men to show their courage, then led his right wing across the river.
Okay.
As they
Nice
reached
animation.
the middle of the river, the Greeks came under a hail of javelins, darts, and arrows from the Persian line.
Yep.
Those
That's why the Romans, developed the testuda. I'm pretty sure it's called, or testudo. The Roman tactic of like having your shields and forming in form of a turtle.
that made it to the far bank were immediately charged by the Persian cavalry.
Okay.
Alexander was in the thick of the fighting.
Okay. Yeah, like during those times, during ancient times, generals, like most generals, and especially kings and leaders of the nations of the state until then, they were fighting with the troops. That's why they were so formidable, because they had the motivation and morale to have their king, their leader, by their side. Now, imagine, bro, imagine if Putin and Trump went on the front lines to fight each other. That'd be crazy. Or at this point, just have them fight in the ring, dude. And whoever wins wins the war, basically.
He attacked where the whole mass of their cavalry and leaders were stationed. Around him, a desperate conflict raged. Horses were jammed against horses, and men against men. The Macedonians striving to drive the Persians away from the riverbank.
That's some nice visuals.
The Persians determined to prevent them crossing and to push them back into the river.
Look at all of this, dude. That's crazy. Of course, it's all AI, it's all robots, it's all
Alexander's
NPCs.
attack seemed reckless, but he was buying time for the rest of his army to cross the river, including the irresistible Macedonian phalanx. Then, suddenly, Alexander was fighting for his life, charged by two Persian nobles. Roisaces rode up to Alexander and struck him on the head with his sword, breaking off a piece of his helmet.
Damn.
But the helmet broke the force of the blow, and Alexander struck him down with his lance.
Okay.
Then, from behind, Mithridates raised his sword against the king, but Black Clitus, son of Dropidas, anticipated his blow, struck his arm, and cut it off, sword and all.
Oh my god, that's crazy and gory. Oh my gosh, I love this. I love this, bro. I hope you got the promotion. I hope you got like a promotion or something. If you didn't give him a promotion, then you suck, okay, in my book. Oh my god, I wish I could have seen that in real life. It would have been gory and like disgusting, but still. Like look at this guy, like he's already putting his hand here because he couldn't watch this.
Now the Greek army was across the river, and the Persian cavalry faced a wall of Macedonian spears.
Bro, Alexander's tactic,
Most turned
like
and
yeah,
fled.
Alexander's plan worked out fine in the end, and just imagine if he lived as long as his father lived. That would be crazy, you know. History would be forever changed, and maybe he would have conquered most of the known world at the time. I mean, he did, but like maybe he would have fought against the Indians again. Maybe he would have won. So yeah.
The speed and shock of Alexander's attack meant Persia's Greek mercenaries hadn't even had time to join the battle. Alexander, in a blood rage, or possibly regarding these Greeks as traitors,
I think both.
ignored their appeals for mercy. The mercenaries were surrounded on all sides and massacred.
Crazy, dude. Okay. Who knows? Maybe like the Greeks who were in the command of like the Persians, maybe they were asked by Alexander to join his campaign, but they refused, and maybe that's why Alexander, massacred them. Maybe that's what. Maybe that's just a theory after all. But
Alexander had won a great victory.
Yep.
Asia Minor now lay at his mercy. But the Persian Empire was still a land of immense wealth and power. Already, it was mobilizing its vast resources to face him.
Yep.
If Alexander was to conquer this empire and take his place in history, he'd next have to face Darius, King of Kings himself.
King of Idiots, maybe. Well, Alexander did leave his
Research
name in
and
history.
artwork for this video comes from Osprey Publishing's
I think. Wait. No. Okay, I definitely read this one and this one. Those other ones, they're pretty interesting. Maybe I should read them as well.
range of books on ancient history. Every Osprey book examines a particular battle, campaign, or combat unit in authoritative, meticulous detail.
Pretty
And
nice.
with more than 3,000 titles, they cover everything from ancient warfare to modern conflict. Visit their website to see their online catalogue.
Please do.
Huge thanks to the YouTube channel.
And this was it, guys. Hope you guys liked it. Honestly did. So yeah, actually, okay, this is the first time you're seeing me without my headphones. But yeah, this was pretty nice. I can't wait for part 2 actually. It got me hyped all hyped up. But pretty crazy. I love Alexander so much. And his military accomplishments are still talked about even today. Like, that's crazy. Alexander, you could say he's like number 2 in the most famous people in history, except Jesus, of course. So yeah, well, that is all for me. Thank you so much for checking in. I hope you have a great day. My name is John, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.